Hey, good morning. This is Brother Ted. Kind of dragging a little bit. I had a rough day yesterday. And as you know, I have 5 cats. We have 5 cats, actually. And one of our cats, Socks, had to be put down, unfortunately. I hate to say put down, but he had cancer and tried different options. There was nothing we could do. And I don't know, the interesting story is I was in the pet store, and we drove to get some fish food one time. And my wife's waiting in line, and so I went over to the aisle, got some fish food. I came back, and here she is holding this kitten in her arms. And I said to her, "What in the world is this?" She says, "I want him. I want him." Okay? And she told me the story that he had a bad heart, and they were ready to put him down. So I said, "Okay, let's take him." So we took him, and that was the beginning of a unbelievable blessing for us. His name was Socks. We had him for 14 years, and it's amazing how God blesses us with His creation. Our pets, different things that mean a lot to us, and they become like family almost. So, as I was in the vet yesterday, I remembered all the memories, and we held them, and I held them real tight and to the very end, and it was even hard to let go and walk out of the room after that. But God gave it that beautiful blessing for a good while, and it really enriched us a lot more while we're on this earth. I'd like to read something too, a little bit about that, but not too much. Something good though, okay? And it's from Philippians chapter 1, and starting in verse 20 up to about verse 24, and Paul's writing this. Paul says, "For I live in eager expectation and hope that I will never do anything that causes me shame, but that I will always be bold for Christ, as I have been in the past, and that my life will always honor Christ, whether I live or die. For to me, living is for Christ, and dying is even better. Yet, if I live, that means fruitful service for Christ. I really don't know which is better. I'm torn between two desires. Sometimes I want to live, and sometimes I long to go and be with Christ. That would be far better for me, but it is better for you that I live." See, we got so much work to do on this earth, but it would be far better for us, okay, when we do go home, because we'll be with the Lord. And that is a great thing, okay? So in that aspect, death is a wonderful thing because we have something to look forward to after death. But we got too much work to do. Like Paul, he had a lot to do, and he was torn between doing all that work, preaching the gospel. So many people need to hear that yet. Or just going home to be with the Lord. And while we're here on this earth, we have a mission. We have a mission to preach the gospel. We have a mission to share our testimonies and about the Lord. And that aspect, by the way, death has a lot of promise. Death doesn't have that sting like it used to before we knew the Lord. And now we know the Lord, death is just another chapter. It's another chapter, okay, of a whole new book. When we die, we close the books and we begin a new one. And that's wonderful, wonderful. There's nothing sad about that. It's unbelievably joyful if we're Christians, if we know the Lord. I'll read something else too. It says, "Suffering in and of itself is not a privilege. But when we suffer because we faithfully represent Christ, we know that our message and example are having an effect, and that God considers us worthy to represent Him. And suffering has these additional benefits. It takes our eyes off of earthly comforts, it weeds out superficial believers, it strengthens the faith of those who endure, and it serves as an example to others who may follow us. Suffering for our faith doesn't mean we have done something wrong. In fact, the opposite is often true. It may very, very well that we have been faithful. Okay, so everybody thinks of suffering as like pain, physical pain and torture. Suffering could be isolation, when people isolate you from the rest of the crowd because you're a Christian, or they refuse to talk to you, or ignore you, or just walk away from you when you approach them, or things like that, or even laugh at you and mock you. That's suffering also in a lot of ways. But we as Christians, by the way, have got to press forward and do God's work, and it comes with the territory. If you're a Christian and you're sharing the gospel, those things come. People are very hostile to the gospel a lot of times, but they still need to hear that. Well, I hope this has helped. This is Brother Ted, and I'm glad I could get that out about my cat too. It was nice to share about that. It's kind of an outlet for me right now. I'm kind of sad. My wife is still sad about that too. But you know what? Life goes on, and I believe that someday, I really do, that there are animals in heaven, and I believe someday I will see a lot of the animals, a lot of the pets we had on earth in heaven. And I think that's true. I mean, I can't back it up, but God says in his word, no ear or eye have seen or heard what God has planned for those who love him. So I'm having that hope too. But anyway, this is Brother Ted for now, and God bless you all. Hope you have a great Friday. Weekend's here. Thank you. I'm so glad about that. You take it easy and have a great day, and I'll talk to you real soon. See you later.